Very well, counsel. You may call the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Commissioners, I recall Mr. Amadou Samba. Morning, how are you? Where do you have my box over?
Morning, sir. Just remind you of your oath, sir.
Mr. Samba, when we adjourned the last time, we were talking about Excel construction.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You were given an opportunity to produce a copy of the agreement between the government of the Gambia and Excel construction and properly endorsed by a lawyer. Do you have a copy? Do you want to tender any document?
I have it here, ma'am.
Very well. Can we have it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have the memorandum and articles of association.
Let me finish my question, Mr. Samba. Do you have any other document in relation to Excel construction you would like to have admitted?
In regard to?
Regarding Excel construction.
Yes, ma'am.
Limited. You have documents?
Yes, I have this a certified true copy of the memorandum and articles.
Okay. Anything else? So we collect them together.
I think I have submitted the certificate, business certificate.
Yes, you have.
I have.
Yes.
Certificate of incorporation. I have the certificate of incorporation.
Yes. You submitted a a certificate from the registrar. Is that the same thing? Can you show him?
Exactly, ma'am. And
Can you
the
show-
certificate
let's see what he has, so we compare it with what
and
was
certificate of
submitted.
business registration.
The certificate of business registration we seem to have, but let me see what you
Yes,
have.
I have this.
These just okay. We have this certificates as Exhibit MS 105A and MS 105B. We have the agreement and the memorandum and articles that you have
Yes, ma'am.
provided. You can return this too. You can show her this as the same. So, counsel, please. Mr. Samba, is the State House fence the only contract that Excel Construction carried out for government?
That's the only contract, ma'am.
That's the only contract.
That's the only contract.
Mr. Chairman, may I have admitted the Memorandum and Articles of Association of Excel Construction Limited and the agreement between the government and Excel Construction Limited
This is the exhibit.
for the construction of
This is the exhibit.
a fence for the State House in
exhibit.
Banjul, endorsed by their solicitor.
Memorandum and Articles of Association of Excel Construction Limited, dated 10th May 2012, and an undated agreement made in 2015 between Government of the Gambia and Excel Construction Limited concerning the construction of the new State House fence in Banjul in a bundle admitted marked MS 115.
Can I have the exhibits back once they are marked? Mr. Samba, the company Excel Construction Limited, is it registered with GPPA, Gambia Public Procurement Authority?
I'm not too sure about that, but I'll find out.
Okay. All right. In terms of this contract for the building of the fence, were there any cash payments?
Cash payment?
Cash payments, yes.
I'm not too sure about that, but the payment was done.
Yes. My question really is to confirm whether the payments were paid into the bank accounts of the company or they were cash payments. The evidence shows that payments can be done in cash at the level of the Office of the President.
Yes.
Do you know whether they were cash payments?
That's where I'm not sure.
Okay. Very
because
well.
At the end of the day, like I told you, it was John Pell Flower who negotiated with the President. And I'm not too sure whether he made an advance payment in cash, but all the same, I mean, I can always confirm this.
You can confirm?
Yes.
Do you know who was supervising this contract at the end of State House end?
At the State House end, I think it was Noah Toure who was in charge. In fact, I think all the original contract documents should reside with him. And the consultant, of course, was Mr. Keta.
Mr. Keta, you mentioned Mr. Keta,
Yes.
I believe. Do you recollect, have you confirmed his first name?
I think
What
I
is
gave
his
it to
first-
you the last time.
I think we
I gave you
still
his
had
first-
Mr. Keta.
Pardon? I gave you his first name, if I can remember.
No, I don't think so. I don't have it in my notes.
Okay,
But if you
then
do have it, let's have it.
Yes, ma'am.
We can take it again because the records are not ready.
Kausu Keta.
Kausu Keta.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He was the consultant for the project appointed by the Office of the President.
Exactly, ma'am.
What about the tax status of Excel Construction Limited? I assume that withholding tax would have been paid from the contract sums.
No, it's not applicable in this contract because there's a particular clause, exemption clause from taxes. If you go through the contract document, it will show you. Total exemption.
Can I have the exhibits? Why was the company being exempted from taxes?
Yes, ma'am?
Why was the company being exempted from taxes?
Well, I suppose because of the particular nature of this contract, like this was the State House fence was.
I'll give you back exhibit MS 115.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, would you like to refer to the clause?
Let me just explain, ma'am.
Yes, I'm just giving you to assist you.
Yes,
I'm giving
ma'am.
you back the contract so you can refer us to the clause. Or do you have another copy with you?
Yes.
You have another copy?
Yes, this clause 7. Clause 7 states that the employer shall be responsible for paying the withholding tax and value-added tax for the works contract.
All right. All right, thank you.
You were asking me about why is it that tax was not paid in this particular contract.
Yes, if you have an answer.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the thing is, it depends on what you negotiate with your employer. I mean, that is what is always reflected in the main agreement. In this particular instance, we negotiated tax exemption.
I can see that, as I said. I just wanted to understand the reasons why taxes were exempted. You're right, it's what you negotiate, but was there any reason why you were exempted from value-added tax?
Maybe, it's because of the cost of the whole construction. I mean, if you look at the cost with tax and the cost without tax, it's different. And maybe the employer wanted to pay less.
So you negotiated a discount, so to speak?
It was not a discount as such. We negotiated, based on the price, we negotiated tax exemption because we knew that if we included tax, we will run at a loss.
Right. So what's the tax status of the company itself?
I think we've been paying our taxes.
You paid your taxes?
That's what I think. Yes. I'll have to check. Because
could you confirm and provide a tax clearance?
Yes, ma'am. I will try to check that, but I know that I was not in charge of the day-to-day running of the company.
Yes. Unfortunately, the person in charge doesn't seem to be here.
Yeah, he's not here, but I'll make sure that we produce whatever.
Very well. I have no further questions on Excel Construction Limited, Mr. Chairman. Unless you have questions, I'd like to move to another subject.
You may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Samba, I'd like to ask you questions about Observer, the Daily Observer.
Yes, ma'am.
As you know, the Daily Observer is one of the companies that have been placed under receivership by the court. You're aware of this?
I'm not aware of this.
Oh, you're not aware?
No, ma'am.
That it's under receivership?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now, for the longest time, you appear as the proprietor of the Daily Observer. What is your connection to the Daily Observer?
Actually, this has been an error from the beginning. If you even check with the various managing directors of the Observer, I've always been complaining of the fact that they are putting me as the proprietor and I am not. In fact, I only succeeded with the last managing director, that was Modu Sabali. When I complained to him, he made sure that he took it out. But other than that, they were giving me excuses like, it's the printing, you know, we already have this, it will be very difficult for us to change it. They gave me all kinds of excuses. And it got to a point where somebody sued me. Mr. Edu Gomez sued me as the proprietor of Observer. He went to court because he thought that the Observer was defaming him. And I had to go back to court to produce the documents to show that I'm not the proprietor of Observer.
All right. What was your connection to Daily Observer?
My connection, I can tell you, because this dates back almost 20 years ago. I was approached by the late Abel Thomas. He was the managing director, former managing director of BICI. The late Abel Thomas approached me, and he said that his friend, Kenneth Best, was out of the country then. Then he entrusted him to see how best he can sell the company. And that's when he offered the company to me. He asked me whether, Mr. Samba, are you interested? I said, yes, it depends on the price. Then we negotiated the price and we arrived at $268,000, which I said, okay, I agree to the price. Then after he communicated this to Mr. Best, and Mr. Best transferred the documents, you know, for me to look at, that is himself. I think it was his wife and his daughter. He owns, Mr. Best owned, I think about, what was it again? He owned, is it 1,000 shares? Then the other daughter, the wife, owns 400 shares. Then there is an, I think this is the daughter's, she owned.
What, okay. What are you reading from, Mr. Sam?
I'm reading from the shares transfer.
The share transfer?
Yes.
So
but I just want to refresh my memory because this thing happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you were reading from.
Yes,
so you're saying...
Then I was giving you the history.
Yes.
Then that's when I agreed with the price. Then Mr. Abel Thomas communicated this to Mr. Best and he agreed. Then, okay, we were busy doing the paperwork. Meanwhile, Baba Job had about the offer. He had that the Observer was being offered to me. And he approached me there and then to say that he was interested. When he said that he was interested, I said, no problem. I mean, I don't think it will do any harm if I transfer it to you. If you are interested, if you are that desperate, I will transfer it to you. That's when I told him that, okay, now that they have sent me the documents, I think I will not take the responsibility of sending the money to Mr. Best, since I have given you my word that I will transfer the company to you. You might as well transfer the money to Mr. Best, and we will do the paperwork when I get the transfer certificates from Mr. Best. And he agreed. There and then, he made the transfer to Mr. Best, and Mr. Best finalized the document, transferred it to me, and I was all the time telling him that I wanted to do the transfer to him. So I was chasing him around, up and down, up and down. He was always telling me that he is busy. Eventually, I succeeded when this guy, Bua Balde, when Bua Balde took over the Observer, he was employed by Baba Job. So it was there and then that Bua Balde, took it upon himself to make sure that Baba Job finalizes the document.
Okay, you have the share transfers from the Best family?
I do have the share transfers.
Okay. You have copies? You had given copies to the investigators. If you have other copies?
Yes, I have. Here. I have.
Yes. All right.
There is this one.
Let's see the share transfer.
Yes, ma'am. And I also have the transfers to Baba Job, and also the articles and memorandum of association of the company. I have that all here.
Do you have the memorandum? Which memorandum and articles do you have?
I have the memorandum of and articles of the Daily Observer. That is the one that was prepared by Buba Balde, the late Buba Balde. Yeah. And also I have the letter where Eddie Gomez was trying to claim for libelous publication.
Okay, let's have the ownership documentations first,
yes,
please. Thank you. Could you just give the documents back to me? You have other copies, or would you need these copies?
I don't have other copies. Maybe
could you give these documents to Mr. Samba? Let me ask him a few questions. Could you give him back these copies? Give them back to him. Could you tell us the dates of the transfer from Kenneth Best and how this was done?
It was May 7th, 1999. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yes.
And the other one, I think it's the wife, was the same date.
What is the name of the wife?
Muriel Best.
Can you spell it for the record?
Murielbest.
Is it the same date?
It's the same date, yes. Then you have May, M-A-E-G-E-N-E, Best.
Okay.
And of course his name is Kenneth Best.
There are 3 transfers of shares?
Yes, please.
All the same day?
Yes, ma'am.
And were they in the country or outside the country?
They were outside the country. In fact, that's why this guy was acting on their behalf, Abel Thomas.
When were these transfers registered?
It was registered August 2002.
And when did you transfer to Baba Job?
I did the transfer to Baba Job it was registered 22nd October 2002, but the transfer was done the same date, 21st of October 2002. Although with effect from the agreement, it says with effect from August 1st, 2002.
And the date of the Memorandum and Articles of Association?
October 2002, that's what I'm seeing here.
22nd October?
Yes, but it was dated here, 21st day of October 2002, and witnessed by Buba Balde.
So basically, if I understand what you're saying, Mr. Samba, is that although the transfers from the Best family was done on May 7, 1999,
yes,
it was not until August 2002 that the transfers were registered and a transfer was done to Baba Job.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
The transfer to Baba Job, is there any consideration stated?
With the transfer to Baba Job?
Yes.
I have already explained that.
Is there any consideration stated?
Yes, because at the end of whether it's stated on the document.
Yes.
I did not read that. Let me see. Well, there was consideration in the sense that I've already explained.
No, my question is whether it was stated.
Well, from this statement.
In the document that you wish to have admitted.
From the document I said, I, Mr. Amadou Samba, hereby do assign and transfer 100% shares of the Observer Company to Mr. Baba Job. And there was also the memorandum of articles which he signed.
Yes, I understand that.
And the memorandum here.
Mr. Samba,
yes,
it's a very simple and direct question. Was
yes.
any consideration stated in the transfer from yourself to Mr. Baba Job?
Well, I didn't prepare
in
this.
In the document.
Let me explain. This document was prepared by Baba Job himself and Buba Balde. They brought it to me to sign. And of course, because of the fact that Baba Job had already paid $268,000 to Kenneth Best, I couldn't do anything else but sign the shares to him. That's what exactly
Mr. Samba, that may well be so, but really all I wanted you to confirm for the record is whether consideration was indicated in your transfer in the transfer between yourself and Baba Job?
Well, if the transfers, the shares were transferred to Baba Job.
Yes.
On the basis of the consideration he had already given.
So you are saying, in other words, no consideration was stated in the document because it's the same consideration that applied.
Well, I should think so because he has already paid $268,000 for the company, and I kept on, I was running after him. It was his duty to make sure that the transfer was done. And that's when they brought this document for me to sign. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Samba, you do know as a lawyer that that's not how things work. So the transfer is between yourself and Baba Job. You are the vendor or the transferor and he is the transferee. Is that not correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Now, you cannot have a transfer without consideration. However, that was not even my question. My question was just for you to confirm that the consideration which you say is 268,000 was not stated in the transfer between yourself and Baba Job. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is...
Yes, could you just confirm that
yeah,
so we can proceed?
Yeah, I can confirm that.
Yes,
it's not
please.
written
Thank you.
on
you
the
may
document.
have reasons. You may have reasons why
I want
it
to give
wasn't
my
stated.
reasons.
Yes.
Because it can be implied. It can be implied in the sense that, okay, it's not on the surface of the document, but the consideration has already been given, and it can be implied in the sense that he has already given the consideration, which was the $268,000. So, I mean, by necessary implication, I mean, the consideration has been met.
Mr. Samba,
yes, ma'am.
Can I have those documents that you wish to have admitted? So let me ask you, Mr. Samba, this transfer, as you know, is a taxable transfer. So who paid the tax, the capital gains tax, in respect of this transaction? If it was paid, yes. Can you, sorry, take it back.
Who paid the tax?
Yes.
I don't think it was my duty to pay the capital gains tax.
My question is not whose duty it was.
Yes.
I'm just asking you whether tax was paid, and if so, who paid the tax?
I'm not sure about that, ma'am.
You're not sure?
No, ma'am.
So let me just be clear on this. You're saying there was a transfer between Kenneth Best and yourself, which was registered.
It was registered in 2002.
Yes, which was registered in 2002. Well,
yes, ma'am.
Registered, I suppose, by filing it with the, yes, it says Register General stamps it, although we don't have a serial registration number for it. Okay. But there's a stamp from the Register General. And then, at the same time that you registered, you transferred to Baba Job as seller this time. And the consideration you said was the same money that moved from Baba Job to Kenneth Best.
Exactly, ma'am.
You'll agree that Kenneth Best was supposed to pay taxes if he was selling shares.
That is true, ma'am.
Now you then said you sold those past the shares on to Baba Job.
Yes, ma'am.
And you became the seller. And the consideration was the same.
Yes, ma'am.
How was it possible to register without paying capital gains tax in the first place?
Well, like I said, that was not my, it was not my duty to pay the capital gains tax. Normally, it's the buyer that pays capital, the seller that pays capital gains tax.
Yes, but you became a seller when you transferred to Baba Job.
Yes, that is correct, ma'am.
Yes.
So you are talking about my side in terms of the capital gains?
Yes, because you did transfer and it was registered.
Well, if that is the case, I mean, if you want to say that I have to pay capital gains tax.
I'm not saying that. I just want it to be clear.
Actually,
this is the, listen, Mr.
Yes, ma.
Mr. Samba, I'm just trying to find out the facts. This is an investigation.
That is correct, ma.
We have a set of documents, transfers of shares, one set between Kenneth Best and yourself, for which we would like to know whether taxes were paid, because it's a May 7, 1999 transfer.
Yes.
The seller pays tax, the buyer pays, the seller pays capital gains tax, the buyer pays stamp duty.
Yes, ma'am.
That is the law. And then we have another transfer, this time in 2002. Again, we would like to know whether taxes were paid. Now, you are saying that it is one and the same consideration for both transactions. But that doesn't really change the fact that taxes ought to have been paid. It's just as simple as that. If they were paid, confirm. If they were not paid, say they were not paid. And if you have a reason, you tell the Commission your reasons.
Well, I think it must have been an oversight. But normally for companies like this, like the Daily Observer, I mean, if you are computing the capital gains, you have to take into account the capital, the investment, and do some kind of homework to get to the capital gains.
All right.
It must have been an oversight.
Thank you. Now, there's just one issue we would like you to clarify. The testimony before this commission is that the sum of $268,000 was paid from central bank account on the instructions of Mr. Baba Job to Kenneth Best. Do you have any reaction to this evidence?
No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Because what actually happened is when Baba Job was interested in the Observer, we agreed that I will, transfer it to him, and he told me to give him the details of Kenneth Best, which I did, and what happened after that, I didn't know. In fact, I heard it for the first time yesterday when this guy was giving evidence to say that it came from the central bank funds. I didn't know.
All right. Just one more question, which I would like you to confirm, if you can. When you took over did you take over the Observer in 1999 when you signed these transfers?
Yes, actually what happened was, of course I have already sold it to Baba Job. So
no, my question is in relation to 1999.
No, I'm just trying to explain to you.
Yes, okay.
So the whole thing was running by itself. It was the management, everything, nothing changed until Baba Job appointed his own people. So everything was the same. The staff, the management was just running by itself. Then it was when Baba Job took over, physically, that's when, you had people like Buba Balde being appointed and the rest of it.
So at the time that, in May 7, 1999, that this transfer of shares was done, and Kenneth Best, on the face of the documents, was obviously out of the country. Exactly. Who was managing the Observer?
The manager then, I think it's the same people that were managing it then. They were there. They were there. The same staff, the same management was carrying on.
Yes, I just want to know who the managing director was. Now. You can't remember.
This is something
fair enough. If you can't
20
remember.
years ago.
If you can't remember, you can't remember.
Yes, 20 years ago.
We have, as I drew your attention, we have a series of publications of Observer, which you as proprietor. This suggests that at some point you must have taken over the Observer.
No. When the transfer took place from Kenneth Best to myself, you know, it was publicized in the newspaper that I've taken over I bought the Observer. And there and then, that's when they started using my name as the proprietor. But in actual fact, at that time, I have already agreed with Baba Joe that the proprietorship is for him. So they started using my name. I even insisted that they should remove it because I was suffering a lot of hazards because of that, because of them putting my name there. People used to call me up and say, why did you write this article against me? All sorts of complaints. It was getting frustrating. So I insisted on Baba Job that they should, even the management, I told them that they should remove my name. They gave me some technical reasons why they think they cannot remove it at that instance. It was only Momodu Sawali that succeeded in removing my name.
You have said so, Mr. Samba.
That's why I have to repeat it, because you kept asking me the same question.
We have to understand
yes, ma'am,
how your name came on the Observer newspaper. According to what you have explained, you did a share transfer at almost the same time, or the same time you actually divested your interest to Baba Joe.
Exactly.
However, the reality is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of newspapers bearing your name as proprietor. That's why I ask, did you, when you signed this share transfer with Kenneth Best, take over the Observer? Your answer is that no, they just saw it in the newspapers and put your name on the Observer. Is that what your answer is? It depends
on what you mean by take over. Like I told you before,
okay,
the same time that Kenneth Best offered the Observer to me, I agreed to sell the Observer to Baba Job.
Yes.
Of course, then people outside didn't know that Baba Job has taken over the shares, so to speak. So even the management there, that's when they started using, because before it was Kenneth Best that was there.
Yes.
Then they used my name, Amadou Samba.
Yes.
Then not realizing the fact that this whole Observer was already belonged to Baba Joe. So they kept on making the mistake. I made a lot of protests. I told them that they should remove my name, and they started giving me technical reasons why they couldn't erase it. It just went on for many years. In fact, I was not happy or comfortable about the situation. Every managing director that comes, I complain about the same issue, and they said they will try. They never succeeded.
Did you? Okay, let me just rephrase the question. Did you, when the transfer of shares was made to you,
I went to the Observer.
Did you go to the Observer?
I did.
To tell them that you purchased?
I did. Yes. No. I didn't tell them about the transfer. I went to the Observer, I think 1 or 2 times, to look at the management. I was introduced to all the staff. You know, then afterwards, that's it.
So you were introduced as proprietor?
I was introduced as proprietor.
Thank you. That's all I wish to confirm. Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted copies of transfer of shares, one between Kenneth Best of 1401 Blair Mill Road in Silver Spring, Maryland, and the witness dated May 7, 1999, and 2 other transfers from Muriel Best dated the same day, as well as May Jean Best dated the same date. Also a transfer of shares of the Observer Company Limited between Mr. Amadou Samba and Mr. Baba K. Job, dated August 1, 2002, with a memorandum and articles of association filed on the 22nd October 2002. Just to confirm, Mr. Boubacar M. Baldes signed as company secretary, was he also managing director at any time?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you have any other documents regarding this matter that you would like to have?
The only document I have is when this guy, Edu Gomez, wrote a letter trying to sue me as the proprietor of Observer, libelous publication in the Daily Observer newspaper. Something like that. This was...
Do you wish to have it admitted?
Is it this one? I have the one for Edward Gomez, yes. You want to...
No, do you wish to have it admitted? It's up to you. If you want to have it admitted, we will have it admitted.
Okay, it don't do any harm.
Can you collect it from the witness, please?
And you have the reply of my lawyer to Edu Gomez's letter.
Please collect the reply.
Memorandum and Articles of Association dated 22nd October 2002 of Observer Company Limited. Shareholders: Baba K. Job, 990 shares. Momodu Sule Job, 10 shares. Total shareholding 1,000 shares. And supporting registration document admitted mark MS 116. Sorry, before you, I just want to ask Mr. Samuel. Do you know, or did you ever see the Memorandum and Articles of Association relating to the time when it was incorporated by Kenneth Best?
No, I don't know, sir. I've never seen it.
I see. The Memorandum and Articles of Association we have here, they are new. Do you agree?
That is correct, sir. In fact, it was, I think it was Buba Balde that...
did the registration?
Yeah, I got this document from Buba Balde.
Very well. You may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I also apply to have admitted a letter from Gomez Law Chambers dated 26 April 2004, addressed to the Managing Editor, Daily Observer newspaper, and the witness regarding a libelous publication complaint, and the reply from the witness's solicitors, Mary Abdullah Samba, dated 3rd May 2004, addressed to Mr. Edward Anthony Gomez.
26 August 2004, 26 April, 2004, from lawyer Edward A. Gomez to Sheriff Bojang, managing editor of Daily Observer, and Amadou Samba, proprietor of Daily Observer, re libelous publication against Tamsir M. Jase, Director General, Immigration Department, and letter dated 3rd May 2004 from lawyer Mary Abdullahi Samba to lawyer Edward A. Gomez, responding to said letter. Admitted mark MS 117.
I just wanted to clarify. Is the bundle of documents including the share transfers from Mr. Best? I didn't hear that.
No. We don't. Is it that? No, we don't have. That's the order is MS 116.
They are part of it.
No. I say MS 116. Show her.
Okay.
MS 116.
I just wanted to know what the bundle comprised of.
No.
Okay. Very well.
Yeah.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Samba, just one final question. Since the money was moving from Baba Job to Kenneth Best and his family, why did you not ask Kenneth Best to just do the transfers directly to Baba Job? Was there any reason?
No, because, the negotiations between myself and Kenneth Best was already finalized in the sense that, you had this Mr. Abel Thomas, who was the intermediary. So we finalized it. It was finalized already.
All right. I have no further questions on this issue. For now.
Mr. Samba, in a similar manner to Baba Job paying from the central bank to acquire Kairaba, would you also support the view that this may also have been done on the instruction of the former president?
I wouldn't know, because at the end of the day, this one in the first place was a smaller amount of money, and I wouldn't know, definitely.
Both sums came from the central bank.
I did not know that this sum came from central bank.
Thank you.
Baba Job just asked me to give him the account details of Kenneth Best. I gave it to him, and that's why it ended.
Thank you.
I only knew about it yesterday when this guy was testifying.
This is convenient time to rise. We'll be back in 15 minutes.